Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. Just returning to you for this quick review. Well, not quick, it's gonna be like a little bit of a review for Bad Omens Concrete Jungle, the OST review for, I guess, a remix album for most of the songs from The Death of Peace of Mind and some new tracks, but still. I'm gonna discuss what I listened to for all 26 songs, which is a 92-minute record, and let you know my thoughts on this remix album. So let's dive into this Concrete Jungle, the OST review. Now it starts with C slash project slash C Joss slash Beat Death, which is the first intro track to the record. And off the bat, it's fine. It's weird static noises and some weird talking in it. But honestly, it leads into the next track, which we already know what the next song is. Violence Against Nature is what it is. So basically 4.75 out of 5 for the intro track. Then comes Violence Against Nature featuring Poppy. I will say I've grown to like this track. I mean, it's not one of the best songs that I've heard off this record, per se. But I think it's a pretty interesting track. I mean, yeah, it's Bad Omens on the production with this track. Noah Sebastian's doing the production with this track, and that is why most people find it disappointing. Me, I kind of have a different view on it now, because I actually grew to like this track as the coming months came when this record was announced. I think in April or May, I started really getting into this track a little more, and it's grown on me. So Poppy still did a good job with her scream vocals, and this track definitely is a pretty good song. So 4.75 out of 5. The Drain featuring Health and Swarm, pretty good song in its own way. I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5. It was one of the singles to be for this record, but to also announce the album and its release date, the Concrete Jungle OST remix album. And off the bat, it's pretty good, so 4.75 out of 5. Terms and Conditions featuring Bobby Violin. It's mostly Bob Violin. I meant to say Bob Violin. So basically, sorry, I'm messing with my PS4 thing. It was about to shut off on me shortly. So basically, Bob Violin's rapping was pretty good. And the remixing, it has some tunes from the Artificial Suicide, the Can You Hear Me Through the White Noise thing. So it's pretty interesting what it tries to dive into. But off the bat, it's a solid track, so 4.5 out of 5. Hedonist, Recharged, or Hedonist, Recharge, featuring Orgasm. Pretty good track. I really enjoyed the screams in this from Orgasm. And off the bat, this track definitely slaps, meaning it's pretty good. The electronic work does pretty well with this track. And some of the drum work, guitar work, and the mixing for it. It's pretty spot on good with how I viewed it. So 5 out of 5 for this track. I almost said 4.75 out of 5 for this one. Even is a pretty good song in its own way. It's mostly Noah Sebastian singing regularly. It sounds pretty nice, but there's some mixing moments where I don't know if I like it, but overall, 4.75 out of 5. Loading Screen is pretty good in its own way. It's the next interlude track to get to Anything Human. So 4.75 out of 5. It's only a minute and 53 seconds of a song. So you're just in for a lot of production and remixing work for this track. Anything More Than Human, I believe is how it is. Anything Human or something, featuring JTKV from Era, is a pretty much of a banger of a song. I really enjoyed this track with how it sounds, with how it's mixed, And overall, this track really performed very well with Noah Sebastian singing clean vocals and some screams from time to time, but JTKB did take over for the screams that I really enjoyed, so 5 out of 5. Digital Footprint was mostly a well-produced track for how it sounds. I mean, it's not the best track, but it's still pretty good for how it sounds, so 4.75 out of 5. This one's 4 minutes and 46 seconds, but you're in for something interesting. It's no singing at all. It's just mostly a kind of instrumental slash electronic work kind of track. Nervous System featuring Iris EXE is a solid track for what it goes for. I didn't hate this song that much, but I just found there to be some moments where I was unsure what to think of it. So 4.5 out of 5. She didn't sound too bad, Iris EXE, in this track, but it wasn't my go-to kind of track all the time. C/project slash CJOS slash Find Peace. Pretty good next interlude track to going to the next track, which is a very short, very well mixed track that I will be talking about in a second. So 4.75 out of 5 for this interlude track, which is only 57 seconds. The C/projects slash CJOS slash Find Peace. Artificial Suicide Unzipped featuring Thousand Below was actually one of my favorites. I mean, it's pretty in your face, and the mixing is so fast paced with the melody. It just sounds pretty good, electronic work wise. So 5 out of 5. The Grave Unzipped featuring Thousand Below again is a pretty good track. I really enjoyed this one, so this is another 5 out of 5 for me. Noah Sebastian's auto-tune vocals sound pretty good with this one. I mean, yeah, it's auto-tune mixed in a way with his vocals, but it still sounds pretty strong. 5 out of 5. The Death of Peace of Mind, We Are Fury patch featuring We Are Fury. Pretty good song. I really like this version of it more than the single version that we got for Death of Peace of Mind, So Wiley patch. This one is probably one of my favorites, but not my personal favorite, but still pretty good. 4.75 out of 5. The Death of Peace of Mind, So Wiley patch which features So Wiley, was above decent. Probably the least favorite for this record, in my opinion, but it's overall fine. So 4.25 out of 5. Bad Decisions, Lofi featuring Dahlia. Pretty good song. I really like how it's mixed, and overall sounds pretty fresh and pretty interesting of a remix of a track, so 4.75 out of 5. Just Pretend credits featuring Let's Eat Grandma and I believe Chief is the next featured artist for the track, but pretty good. I mean, it's not one of the personal favorites, but it's fine to get through the record, so 4.75 out of 5. And finally, for the end of the remix tracks, going into the live tracks afterwards, which we will be talking about those in a second. Pretty much C/project slash CJOS slash Clear Mind is solid outro to the remix songs for the Concrete Jungle OST thing, the OST. So 4.5 out of 5. Artificial Suicide Live 2024 was really good. I really enjoyed this, and Noah Sebastian sounds good live in this track, so there's some moments where he sounds good live and moments where he kind of exhausts his voice a bit. But overall, 5 out of 5. Like a Villain Live 2024, pretty good track. Really enjoyed this one for the live version, so I'd give this a 5 out of 5 as well. I think it sounds really good with Noah Sebastian singing live and screaming live too, so it works for what it's going for. So the next one is the Gray Live 2024, and that's track 21. I think this track is pretty strong for what it goes for. It's not one of my favorites. He did have some moments where Noah Sebastian's vocals were getting a little weak, but it was that only the point of it was that he was exhausting his voice a little too much. And that tends to happen with some singers that tend to sing live and they get exhausted from singing afterwards. But it's fine. Things happen. But it's still a pretty good track, so 4.75 out of 5. What do you want from me? Live 2024. Pretty good track for how it sounds. I really enjoyed this. So 5 out of 5. It's very well mixed. It sounds really good with Noah Sebastian's vocals live for this one. So 5 out of 5. Nowhere to Go. Live 2024 is a pretty strong track. He definitely prolonged the track a little, but it didn't close out with the final chorus, the end of the track. That was what I was disappointed with. But overall, still a strong track, so 5 out of 5. Then comes Violence Against Nature Live 2024. Sorry about the background noise. My sister's dog. Featuring Poppy. Pretty strong. I really like the live version a lot more than the original song. The original song's pretty good, but this one I'll have to give praise to because it sounds really good. Even when Noah Sebastian's screaming live, and from time to time, even in the bridge part, he's doing some vocal backups for Poppy, backing vocals with Poppy. So it's pretty strong. 5 out of 5. The Death of Peace of Mind Live 2024. Pretty strong track. Really enjoyed this one. I'd commend this and give it a 5 out of 5. So it's pretty good for what it sounds like, and basically Noah Sebastian's vocals sound pretty good. Sorry, I'm just rubbing my eyes. I'm very tired for some odd reason. I was trying to sleep off some heart complications I was dealing with yesterday, which I will be talking about that in a special video or community posts. So basically 5 out of 5 for The Death of Peace of Mind Live 2024. Just Pretend Live 2024 is a 10-minute track, almost 10 minutes. It's 9 minutes and 47 seconds. But the first part of it is just basically, it's basically the original live Just Pretend version with the drum work and guitar work, and it sounds pretty good. And even Noah Sebastian was getting a little tired with his vocals, but it still sounded good, despite that. But overall, it's pretty good. And then there's an acoustic part, like around close to the 6-minute mark of the track, that still sounds pretty good, and I really enjoyed that. So 5 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think all these 26 songs are pretty interesting. But I say this was one of my favorite Bad Omens remix records. Not really, but it's good in its own way. It's not one of my personal favorites that I'd be listening to off and on, but sometimes I would if I feel up to listening to it. There's just some of the remix tracks are hit or miss, but overall there's some strong remix tracks for this record, for this remix album. And overall, if I were to give it a score, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for Bad Omens Concrete Jungle, the OST, for this review. It's a good record, good remix album. Definitely check it out, see what you think of it for yourself. And with that being said, 8 out of 10 for Concrete Jungle, the OST remix album review for Bad Omens. Hopefully you enjoyed this review this afternoon, and thanks for watching.